So in the last videos I've talked about the basics of wheel building, in which the aim is to get a wheel where all the spokes are equally tight, where the centre of the rim is halfway between the two flanges here that will go against the dropouts, where the wheel is circular, so when it's spun it doesn't go up and down, and where there's no wobble, in other words no side to side wobbling on it. Now what I've done so far is just to replace all the spokes with new spokes. I took one of the old ones out, put one of the new ones in, and I checked that the lacing is correct, so they either go over, over, under, or alternatively under, under, over. I've checked that for each of the spokes. So this is now correctly laced. It's all pretty loose. If I hold the rim there and I do that, you can see I've just done the nipples up just so that they're hanging on really. And the first thing I'll do is to tighten them up, probably just with my fingers, so that all of them are the same depth. And I'll look for the end of this spoke, how far down in this end of the nipple it is. Now of course what that will do, once they're all more or less done finger tight, is it will position the centre of the rim halfway between the flanges, where my fingers are here, where the spokes come out, which would be great if it was a front wheel. But this is a back wheel, and I need the centre of that rim to be over this side, so it's halfway between these flanges. And so what I'm going to need to do is to tighten these ones to make this side more vertical, which will pull that rim over. So once I've got them more or less right, then I will tighten each of these one turn. First of all, I will have just looked with my dishing tool to see what the baseline is, how far over I'm going to need to have it, maybe 8mm, 10mm, who knows. Then I'll tighten all of these drive side ones one full turn. I'll de-stress the wheel, and I'll show you how to do that later. Put a block of wood on the floor and then push on it like that, spin it over, do the same on the other side. That de-stresses it, it just allows the spokes to bed in a little bit. Then I'll measure again, and I'll repeat that process until the dishing is correct, until the centre of the rim here is halfway between these flanges. And then what I'll do is to transfer it to the wheel truing jig. But let's first of all just see roughly how good or bad this is. And that's very encouraging, because that means that the rim is not way out of circular, just left to itself. And we should be able to get this good. And then I'll aim to do three things at once as I true it. I'll aim to keep the dishing correct, so the centre of the rim is halfway between these flanges. I'll aim to have it circular, so I'll pull in the rim if it's too high, to take out what's called hop. And then the last thing of the three, but all are taking place together, is to make sure that there's no side-to-side wobble. So what I'll be doing is I'll periodically check that the dishing is correct, but as I spin it, if it's high up here, I'll take a whole cluster of spokes in to pull that out a bit down, pull that bit of the rim down, and if it's over to one side, then obviously I'll pull the spokes in from the other side to pull it over, and that will all become clear when I do the next video. So that's the next stage. As I say, I'll get these just tightened up, finger tight, all to the same extent, measure the dish, and I'll show you what that is on the next video, and then I'll start to pull it over to do the dishing as the next thing.